Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Dash Rinko Levens.
Oh, shoot, I'm doing this. Okay, The problem is in your set, people. The problem is not with either of your co-hosts, both of which obviously are lucid and sober, sane, straight, all of that stuff. Hey, welcome to Wrong and Wronger, the podcast where we do a cold open, and after about, 160 episodes, it still catches me by surprise. Welcome. I am Steve Olivas, and I'm joined by James, the Exploding and Patiently Waiting Unicorn Breakwell. And James, let me just throw it to you. Get the heat off of me. How are you doing this week?
I am doing amazing. It's fun to see you as confused on this podcast as you are on 10 Minutes to Save Your Marriage. Like, you act like it's always my fault, but here you are on your own, doing the countdown, doing the cold open, and you still can't manage it. Same old Steve. That's why I come here every week, just to see you flounder.
That's why. All right. Well, you've stumbled upon, as apparently I have when you kicked the door open and shined a light in my eyes, the podcast where we argue about things that don't mean nothing to nobody and are remarkably confusing to at least one of us. But James, what are we going to argue this week?
What's the best way to fasten paper? Paper clips or staples?
We've gone from the sublime to the just ridiculous. Paper clips versus staples. And James, it sounds like you have a fair amount of energy happening in the house behind you as we are again, against your better judgment, recording this during daylight hours.
Yes, I have children home, I have a wife home, I have 2 pigs home, I have a dog home. Everybody is awake. I banished them upstairs. Actually made them eat faster so that they would not have to, they wouldn't be in the background behind me. I shooed them upstairs just seconds ago. Hey guys, let's be quiet up there. That will not work. There's no chance that's going to work.
Sure. Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Tell Lola to keep it down. Good Lord.
All her fault, clearly.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay, so paper clips versus staples. Yes. And part of the reason, James, I'm discombobulated, as I've had a moment here to reflect, is we set a time to record. I, of course, did not allow adequate time for me to get everything together. And as I'm running in here, I have some technical difficulties. I couldn't find your phone number. Don't ask. I had trouble with the phone. Like, I'm holding the phone to my ear like a caveman because I couldn't find earbuds because it's about 100 degrees outside here in Nashville in February, and I had the wrong coat. My other coat, I keep the earbuds in so I can plug into the phone. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I do know this. We start each one of these episodes with a compliment, and James, this is going to bring the soothing wash of tranquility over me. Give me a compliment, James. Make me feel good about myself in my moment of despair.
I would like to compliment you for sort of sticking the landings. Today I was going to be nice. The clock changed to 12:30, and I waited for the call, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And usually you are so eager to talk to me that exactly the designated time on the dot, it rings. And it didn't. Yeah. You were like 30 seconds late. Now, technically, you were still within the same minute we wanted. It was not yet 12:31. But I wasn't going to bring it up. I was going to give you a 30-second grace period. And now I see everything going on behind the scenes, how your life is just falling apart more than usual. And the fact that you were a mere 30 seconds late is remarkable. And I also appreciate that you were so eager to talk to me that you couldn't give yourself an extra 2 minutes to find some extra earbuds. It had to be within that minute. So good for you for sticking the landing, kind of, sort of.
It's funny you say that because even when I do my other podcast, The Commute, I call the guest at precisely when the second hand hits the 12. James, good Lord. Come on, man. What's going on?
Well, I don't know. I have specifically banished the children upstairs. It's not working. All right, just keep going.
Okay. I like how you're going to power through this. That's good. So anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about now. That was like a bowling ball hitting the head pin in my brain. But James, I want to, and this actually, what's happening behind you is going to feed more fuel into my compliment, which is I want to compliment you on your tolerance and your patience, because I was 30 seconds late. And obviously it was all you could do to bring it up, because it was going against every fiber of your being. That is, I will protect Olivas from these minor transgressions. I will just ride the wave. I will take the ups and the downs, and I'll smooth them all out. I'll sand the edges off of this show. But I obviously you couldn't do it because I drew it out of you. And even with what's going on behind you, I like how you found your happy place, James. I don't know how you do it, but your mind is like a lake with a sheet of glass over it. Like you could skip a stone on that thing, it would just keep going. Good on you, James.
Yeah, well, that's 30 seconds of my life I'm never getting back. Just so we're clear.
Well, at least as soon as we're done recording, you have more tranquility to return to in your private life. So it's wonderful. It all works out for you.
Yes, go ahead and flip that coin so I can pick my winning argument.
Oh, that's right. Who wins and who loses is now not important to you again. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, no, it's very important. Kind of like last week, how I had the better argument, an amazing argument in defense of romance and love. And for some reason, people voted for you just because on Twitter, it's full of angry, bitter people who hate true joy. And I can't do anything about the demographics. It's the audience we're stuck with. It's like going to a cat convention and arguing that dogs are better. Like, you got to know the audience. And Twitter is not big on love. So you know what? You got a softball this week. You hit it out of the park. Good for you. Maybe this week we'll try it without the tee sitting there. You know, maybe we'll actually do a pitch rather than just the stationary ball.
Wow. Okay. My secondary compliment was going to be how you're easygoing. That you don't take things with vitriol and angst. That good. Okay. Easygoing James. That's what they used to call you in high school. And they didn't mean break well. But anyway, all right, so the Guam quarter fate, what shall the two sides represent for you, James Breakwell?
Heads, I am arguing staples. Tails, I am arguing paper clips.
Ooh, see, you went backwards from how you presented it to me. All right, so heads is staples this
Yes.
time. It is up, it is down, and it is heads. You have staples.
Staples, thank goodness, the better one. So first of all, I came up with this topic just like I come up with every other topic, because I'm the responsible one here on the ball. And had I left it up to Steve, we would have floundered around for 20 minutes trying to think of a topic. Me, I just glance at my desk and see, what's there? What can we argue about? Boom, paperclip versus staples. And you know what? When I looked over there, I saw staples, because staples are a more permanent fastener. Paperclips, that barely holds things on there together. They're all loose. It can be pulled off. It can be flopped around. It can be reshuffled. It's not a level of stability you need in your life. If my kid comes by and knocks off a stack of papers that are paperclip, it's still going to fly everywhere. Maybe not all of them, but at least 3 or 4 sheets out of that pile are going to go. But you staple that baby. If you staple it, those things are staying in the order you want. And if somebody wants to pull them out, they got to go get the special staple removers. I got them right here. You got to pull them out. Like, it is secure. It's like a nail. Like, if you're going to hang something on the wall, you pound in the nail and you got to use the back of the hammer to take it out. Same idea. If you're going to do a job, if you're going to fasten the paper. None of these wussy half measures of, I don't know if I can commit to binding the papers in this order. Papers have a very specific order. They have page numbers for a reason. Just slam the staple through and be done with it. I'm sorry, but I am a man of commitment. I am a man of conviction. And when I want those papers ordered, I want them ordered, and they are staying that way unless you get a mechanical device out to change the picture. So that's all there is to it. Go ahead and concede. I got this one locked down. Staples are better.
James, were you actually standing for the second half of that argument? Because I almost was lifted out of my seat by the passion, the exquisite passion that is James Breakwell, albeit misguided passion. And James, just in the first few seconds of that was almost a sermon, like at the pulpit of the Church of Staples. But I have 6 arguments of why you're wrong.
Whoa,
and
6?
all of these are actually correct.
Did you write them down? Did you honestly write down 6 things while I was talking?
Yeah.
If you wrote them on separate pieces of paper, you would have to staple those papers together, just so we're clear, to make sure the order didn't get mixed up.
Hey, listen, your argument was off base, but the passion was there. I appreciate all the energy. First of all, your argument of permanence is misguided. Like, you've got to be ready to adjust to the day. And remember my compliment to you, James, that you are nothing if not flexible. Like, look what's happening behind you. Like, you knew that if you sent your family upstairs, if you were rigid, you would assume that all was going to be tranquil upstairs, and yet it's not, and you're still here and pretending to ignore it and just rolling with the punches. That's why paper clips need to be for you, because sometimes you do have to add and subtract. Paper clips don't leave holes in the paper. Like, it should offend your sense of continuity that there's these holes in the upper corner if you do have to remove the staple. Paper clips are a nice solution to that problem. They also, when you pull out that claw hammer to get the stapler out, or the staple out, sometimes the stapler is attached, and I'll get to that in a second. But you just tear the paper to shreds. If you need to add or subtract, you have to put another staple in, or you have to pull the staple out, and it makes a mess, James. And you know, your life is anything but a mess. Your life is always between the white and the yellow. It is predictable, and you make sure to dot every I and cross every T. Paper clips will allow you to do that. It's not permanent. You can add and subtract. I added that one already, but the staplers jam. Like, sometimes I will push the stapler down and it jams, and the stapler is still attached to the paper because it's in that down position, and you need like a screwdriver to get up in there and rip it apart, and then you got to pull the staples out, and everything is a mess. And there's so many options with paper clips. With staples, it's binary, yes or no, which is why you got to rip it out sometimes. With paper clips, you have the standard clip that looks like a paper clip that everyone thinks of, like pretzel looks like a pretzel, but you can get rods as well. Paper clips come in options. You get the little alligator clippy ones if you have more pages that you need to staple, or I can't even keep the argument straight because I've got all of your energy resonating in my head. I was like, raise the roof, baby. But paper clips, you can add, you can get a ton of papers with one of those giant alligator clips together, and you can't force a staple through that mess. James, paper clips give you options, they give you cleanliness, and they give you the ability to change. And I'm a psychologist, James. I help people change, and that's what everybody really wants.
So, first of all, you can pound staples through bigger piles of paper. You get like the big old professional staplers that's like a big lever, you pull it down. I know you've never, read anything longer than a 3-page short story, so you're not gonna be into this. But those of us who write longer things, you absolutely can get staples who pound through there. They're as thick as nails. They go down with the force of a sledgehammer. It's a beautiful thing. Second, I'm sorry that you can't even operate a standard stapler. I mean, that is clearly operator error. If you'd like, the next time we're in the same city, I will walk you through a tutorial step by step for how to successfully use a stapler without jamming it. I'm sorry you're having these troubles. For my third point, let's do some role playing, okay? Here, will you indulge me for a moment? Okay.
Sure.
So here I am. And I've got this 10-page document numbered 1 through 10, all these documents. And so I'm going to hand them to you, and they're going to be loose. And I hand them to you, and I say, Steve, what is the scenario where you take these 10 pages? What is the scenario where you don't want them fastened together? What is the scenario where pages 1 through 10 need to be in a different order? So I've put the staple through. The staple's there. Like, how is this inconveniencing you? Walk me through your thought process for how this staple document is limiting your life.
I like how you don't know what a role play is, James, but I will indulge your semi-role play question here and say, you put the word professional in front of stapler before because you think if you put that word in front of something, then it automatically means you know what you're talking about. If you have professional documents, they're numbered 1 through 10. So even if the paper clip slips off and number 1 flies to the side, you can put it back in order. But 2, if it's a professional document, you don't want holes in it. You want that thing to be neat and tidy, and that's why paper clips are the obvious choice.
Well, that's the thing. Let's go back to this role play scenario. What is the scenario? Why? Okay,
what wasn't role play in the first place?
Explain to me. Okay, so you, Mr. Olivas, here's your document.
Yeah.
What cause are you going to have to pull that staple out? Why are there going to be holes?
Why would you put the staple in the first place is my question.
Because your butterfingers are going to drop it. I hand it to you, and I know you can't always handle having things in your hands. I don't want you to drop it. So now it's in your hands. So why are you going to take the staple out? It doesn't need to be reordered. It will never, in the history of time, need to be reordered. So why are we
Okay,
going to have
you are
holes in
putting
the
a
paper?
given in this proof that is not necessarily true.
What is not
the
necessarily
given is
true?
that you hand it to me with a staple in it.
Yes.
And I'm saying you don't need the staple because you have already ruined the integrity of the document by putting the staple in there. You paperclip it together. The paperclip still holds true. You can drop it 4.5 feet to the ground and it still stays intact. But even if it doesn't, it's only 10 pages. The paperclip keeps all the paper nice and neat and integritous.
I can't even talk to you anymore. I'm just going to roll the dice.
Back good. I said good day, sir.
All right. So if you want to
All
vote
right.
for James and Staples and permanence and law and order in the American way, vote for number 3. If you don't want to vote for Steve
I don't think we've
and
never
his
had 3 before.
crazy, impermanent, useless, confusing, un-American paperclips, vote for 96. And if you
the
want to
opposite
throw
of
your
3.
vote away with a random vote, vote for 84.
All right. So if you want to vote for James and coming up with adjectives that nobody has ever heard of to try to make yourself seem smart and like you should win the argument, vote for 3. Kind of an insignificant little number. If you want to vote for Steve and truth, justice, and the American way, and I can throw words around too because I am learned. Vote 96, which is almost the top of the food chain, which would be 99. Man, that shows there's not a lot of room above my argument. And if you want to throw your vote away, well, what is it? 84 and not 96. That's for darn sure. All right. Well, we have come to the end of another episode. Both of us have lived through it. It seems that one of us is in a good mood and the other one of us has to deal with his family for the rest of the day. So until next week, when this posts again, this is Steve Olivas, Dr. Steve for James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell, saying thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and remember, 2 wrongs can make a right.